Thank you. Thank you. We all week, we're here, all week. Ah, shoo. Welcome to Plato's Cave on WCCR, coming to you from Australia for Revolution Radio on Revolution.radio. That's right, Revolution.radio. It's home to fresh ideas, ish, relatively pretty much uncensored. No swearing, though, right? There are some rules we have to follow, which is all good. Importantly, though, the station is not actually sponsored by anybody but you, the listener. So if you can donate, please do. If you can't donate, tell people about the station. It's just as good. Just as good. The more people listen, the better it actually is. Okay? The better it actually is. The more people eventually will donate. So please go ahead and do that. Any donation, by the way, cash, crypto, money order, whatever has you. Whatever has you. It's all good. Today is the 16th of April, 2024. A third of the year is almost gone. The question, of course, is where did it go? Right, Dave? Where did it go? You can catch the cave on the air, on the line all the time, and on your smart device. Grab it up to listen anywhere or listen at home on Grace Tabletop Digital Radio. That's right. But you know what? The archives are free too. Another good reason to donate if you can. Thank you very much. Before we start broadcasting at you in anger, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast. And for Dave,
I'm glad to say it's the Dark and Young.
Excellent. And for myself, of course, it's the Iraq people here in beautiful Pemberway, and we'd like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and future. Look, there's nothing new. Nothing. It's the same. It's the same kind of crazy that we've been looking at for a long time now. Long time. And I just don't know where we're going with all of this. I mean, I do know, but I wonder how long people will put up with it. How much? No, really, how much
all
more?
All the way till it does the name.
All the way. I hope not. Because, it is happening. You can stand on your head. Again, I walk around the world. I watch various news channels in a couple of different languages. It's the same everywhere. This is not an isolated kind of thing. Neither the cost of living pressures, okay?
Yeah.
Nor the growing. Sorry, go on.
I said yes.
Yes. Nor the growing. I guess it's growing violence. There's also growing unrest. Much more vocal, I want to say, than the Ukrainian protests were, and bigger and continuous. So people are protesting what's happening in Gaza to a fairly significant extent, right? I mean, all the major stuff. I think every major city has got these protests calling for a ceasefire, stop an end to violence, stopping of the well, it's no other word now, I guess, the slaughter of civilians. Really, if you're going to be on 30,000, what else do you call it? It's not an accident anymore. I mean, if collateral damage is being avoided, let's say that's true, Dave. Let's say the collateral damage is being avoided as much as possible. You know what that means? That if they didn't avoid it, by now there would be hundreds of thousands of people that would have been killed.
Yeah.
Now, you go, what? Well, that has to be the takeaway here. Surely. I mean, what else would it be? Right? If you're doing your utmost not to kill civilians and children and whatnot. You just, if you don't do it, then you have to kill hundreds of thousands of people. Surely, that's the ratio, right? Maybe more. I don't know. We haven't even gone into Rafah yet. That hasn't happened. Rafah hasn't happened. Let's just hope it doesn't happen. Iran has sent drones and missiles against Israel. That's great. It mostly shot down. Israel has not responded.
Not yet. They say they're about to.
Well, what does that mean, though?
I
Right?
said they say.
Yeah, no. I'm with you, but I'm still curious.
Because that's what you do, isn't it? Imagine.
Well,
wait. Just imagine, right? You're at a friend's barbecue, and an argument ensues in which the person becomes that you're speaking with. It's not so much an argument. You've just rattled them so much. Maybe you took their beer from the fridge. I don't really care what it is, but the situation is they're going to hit you, and they say, "I'm going to hit you," and you go, "An idiot stays there waiting for it, right?" And then they hit you. So all of this, like I call it saber rattling, yeah, but you're actually using ammunition. It's like shooting someone squarely in their armored, jacket, right where their chest plate is. What's the point of that? Just think, only 2 children were hurt, but not directly from anything that rained down on Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Not even debris.
Mm-hmm.
There was damage, but there wasn't anyone actually hurt. So, did Iran say, "Oh, by the way, we're gonna launch 300 like things. Don't worry about it, right? I'm gonna tell you the exact spot so you can get your people away." Like, is this whole thing a play? Is that what we're looking at? Or if they're so serious as to want to do harm, I don't think they're shooting the right things at the right things. I said today, and I'm going to hand it to you back, but I said today to a friend, I said, look, I suppose they're all lucky that I'm not in charge. Because the first thing would be, nuclear power or power distribution. That's the first thing. Second thing is all of the buildings that rule the country. Everything that makes decisions. Just destroy. I don't care whether they're there or not. They're going to have to make those decisions somewhere else. It's so upsetting to see. It's like, what do aliens do? The first thing in a Hollywood film, blow up the White House. Right? What? Why not? Why not do that and really show the people what you mean? Because I think that was the wettest damp towel, or the wettest sponge, or a wet sock. I don't care what you call it. Wherever you live in the world, that 300 missiles or projectiles or drones or whatever they happen to be, totally, ruined. It was. I don't want to say anything else except for, unless, of course, the US and Britain and the French, any other allies that shot down 100% of those missiles to prevent them striking somewhere, must have really ticked Iran off.
I agree.
And this retaliation opportunity now is so huge. 300. Oh, how about 1,000? Or if you use the same math with Gaza, what was it? How many was first? What was in the first in Israel's dead pile?
1,200 people were killed.
1,200 to 30,000. All right. So if you use the same math, goodbye Iran.
Yeah. And if that were to happen, then if that ever became a real threat, let's say, then Iran would launch its nuclear arsenal. That's it.
Oh, totally. That's right.
and forget the Middle East. It would be Muslims and Jews across the world would be caught up in a conflagration or
Oh,
4.
yes. Did you see what happened, Becky, the other morning where, like early in the morning, I think it was 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, there was a sermon going live to air, and our New South Wales police chief called it a terrorist attack, but it was a
Yes,
15-year-old with a knife. And then the police went in, they restrained the perpetrator and sought,
and
they sought medical attention for the people injured. And then a riot ensued outside where 20 police cars were destroyed. And the police chief goes, "We were there trying to help you.
yeah,
The world's gone
I,
mad."
I hadn't heard about the cars. Um,
They were using
uh,
fence palings and bricks and pipes and all sorts of things to beat on these police cars. Like they did something wrong. I don't know. They responded to the call, and then suddenly, hey, you can't have police cars in our area. It's yeah. Look what's going to happen to them.
yeah, the weird thing is this, right? Yeah. Oh, no, sorry,
It's
you're
kind of like a
right.
culture war, really, isn't it?
Well, is it because the attack was on an Assyrian Orthodox church?
Yes.
These are not Catholics
No.
or Western Christians. These are Eastern Christians, and not even Russian or the main Orthodox lines
Or
that you have,
Israeli, or
um,
that's right.
but
Yep.
rather Assyrian Orthodox Christians. And it was actually attacked specifically on the bishop, and the
That's
bishop has
right.
gotten into trouble with his church. Okay,
Oh, I love that you know the depth of it.
well, I'm interested, and I was thinking, okay, as soon as they called it a terrorist attack, I thought, by whom?
Yes, that's right.
Who? But Who's claiming this? Who's claiming responsibility? Who? So this is what they're calling it. They're calling it a religiously motivated terrorist attack,
Hmm.
or act rather. There's a 16-year-old boy who, for all I know, might be an Assyrian Orthodox Christian. I have no
Hmm.
idea. Okay, and he stabbed the bishop. And yes, you're right. Afterwards, there was a bit of hoo-ha, but that wasn't really related to that. It was, that was just a riot. That was just cool. Like it was congruent to the stabbing.
It was because it wasn't related directly to the stabbing, but it's how dare you have this many police? And there was 1,000 people
Yeah,
out there rioting
yeah,
around this event.
yeah.
Wow.
But I'm still baffled. Number one, as to who this kid is, like what is his
Hmm.
background, right? Number
Hmm.
two, why did he single out this? I mean, he's obscure. He's Assyrian Christian Orthodox. I reckon that half our listeners have never heard of Assyrian
Hmm.
Christian Orthodox people.
I
Okay,
didn't know it till you mentioned it.
so, but that's the thing. I mean, but no, it's a terrorist act. What is it?
Well, we had to label it something.
Well,
It
we
gets
didn't
more
call
funding, you see.
but we didn't call the Bondi stabbing a terrorist attack,
No, we
right?
didn't.
There's too much CCTV. It's clearly not a terrorist attack. But I really look, buddy.
Hmm.
This is just. I mean, it's just the next level of insane.
So
Um,
so does it not keep looking like in more examples of that Voyager thing with the aliens just out of phase, making everyone aggravated?
that's possible.
No, I know it sounds
No,
ridiculous,
no,
and
no.
that's kind of sci-fi, but it's just how could something escalate so rapidly into something so unfortunate? In either
Yeah,
case, I'm going to type some words into the chat just for you and
yeah,
me,
yeah,
Mackie,
yeah. All
which
good.
we can't mention them online. All right, on
Of
air.
course we can. Yeah,
No, we can't. All right.
yeah. No, no.
So,
I'm with you.
um, look, I'm waiting now to see what Israel will do. Just bring me back to the worldview, right? Because given their stance on Gaza. Yeah, but that's a longer held one. But I think if any people in the world don't forget, I don't think they forget, except they forget how they've been treated for a long time, and it just doesn't seem to matter when they're doing it to someone else. And that's kind of like what happens. That's how to birth a bully. You know, bullies don't do it just because they've decided one day I'm going to be a bully. Usually, there's a whole bunch of torment that happens either
Oh,
at
no,
home or something like that.
it's usually not a conscious life choice.
No,
It's like, oh, what career path are you seeing yourself taking? Oh, I'm going to be a bully. Oh, very good. And then I'm going into politics. Oh, well done. Um, you know that the bishop that was stabbed was actually a very vocal opponent to the COVID vaccination program as well.
oh,
Just pop that there for you. Just saying. Just saying. He wasn't a supporter. let's just say that. But no, look. Yes, maybe. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that Star Trek episode, but these aliens just are out of phase,
hmm
so they can't actually be perceived. And I'll have a little story which I've told you before, but since you brought it up, I'll tell it again. So there's these, So and the crew is irritated, and they have these aches and pains. They can't sleep, but they don't know what's wrong. They're looking for pathogens, some kind of virus, alien microbes, whatever. They can't find anything, strange radiation, space phenomena. They can't find why they're so irritated. And I can't remember how they actually find, what happened. But they do find out there are these bunch of aliens that are just out of phase that have come on board the Voyager and started experimenting on the crew. Of course, completely invisible to the crew. And then, they solve it and they all get better and, kumbaya. But what happened to me, and I told you this before, I know I've said it on the air, but it just sort of fits. Sitting in my friend's lounge in, this was in, I want to say, Neutral Bay. And and I'm sitting on the couch. I feel this needle going into my neck on the right side. Like I mean, literally, it felt like a needle, not like a mosquito bite, but a needle was being poked into my neck. And I go, oh my god! And I looked, and I couldn't see anything. But man, that hurt. It did feel like a big needle had been poked into the side of my neck. Okay, fine. And funnily enough, that night I started coughing up blood, and oh look, it wasn't horrendous, but it was just the next morning I was just coughing up a whole bunch of blood, and I've made a note of it because it's such a weird thing, right? And I looked around for this thing that stuck me, and I couldn't see it, right? There was nothing. There was no insects, nothing. It was just like a. I don't want to say here. I said inches. It felt like 3 or 4 inches of needle had gone into my neck. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But again, no puncture, nothing. It just felt that way. So I don't know. Do we have
back in the 90s? I felt like I was stabbed in the side of the head with a needle or a nail.
Really?
While I was sitting there in the side of the head. Yeah, totally. Very strange. And it was like a compounding pain. It seemed to just keep getting worse. But nothing happened as a result. The kind of thing went away, and voila, no problem. Never again, actually.
You see, if we ever interacted with beings that functioned in more dimensions than we do, so we function in 4 dimensions, right? In 3 spatial dimensions, let's call it that, right? In the seemingly unidirectional dimension of time, duration. Those are the dimensions we function in, right? So the question then is, how would we interact, or how would an interaction look like with someone in a higher dimension? Well, the answer is it would be completely incomprehensible to us. I mean, it would be like magic. Things would appear and disappear. Does it remind you of something? Things would pop in and out of existence. You might find yourself in places and you have no idea how you got there. Objects might disappear and reappear. Like popping, like literally in and out of existence.
Yeah.
The thing is this: you only see an aspect of the thing, and the other thing, which is really interesting and important to note, to someone that functions in a higher dimensional space, there is nothing solid in our world that they can't get through. Okay, there just isn't. So if we were interacting with flatland, and we put our finger onto the paper, let's say, flatland, all they would see is the intersection of our finger with their world. That's all they would see. So they see this oblong shape, if you will, of your finger. But the rest of it is completely hidden. So now think about this for a second. Let's talk about these UFOs and UAPs that pop in and out of existence. So what we see is this, let's call it either a saucer or a tic-tac shaped object. Don't think of it as a saucer or tic-tac shaped object. Think of it as the intersecting point of what we can see of this higher dimensional entity, if it is a higher dimensional entity. Because that's all we're seeing. We're only seeing the intersecting point that we can perceive in our reality, the three or rather four-dimensional part of it. Right? There are more dimensions involved, and all we can perceive are the dimensions that happen to intersect with ours and become visible in an experiential way. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Right? And that's why I think there's so much weirdness, and it just doesn't make any sense. But if you look at it from that point of view, I think a few things become clear. The popping in and out of existence. The perceived dimensional gateways or wormholes. People losing time. People covering great distances without understanding how. Memory loss. And memory loss makes perfect sense. You know why? Let's say for a second that you are lifted into a higher dimensional space. And I'm talking about spatial dimensions here, right? Let's say you are. You're not equipped to perceive what's going on. You look around, but you can't actually see it because your brain can't comprehend what your visual input is. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay? It doesn't. It's like trying to describe the color yellow to a person that's been blind from birth. Okay? Good luck with that. So it's really mind-bending, but what your mind would do, it would just completely blank it out. It can't deal with it, so it blanks it out. In high-stress situations, people have no memory sometimes of what happened. Sometimes the memory is crystal clear, don't get me wrong, but quite a few times it's just the trauma is blanked out, and you have to go to hypnotic regression to retrieve some of those memories sometimes, right? But we find that you have no active memory of it. And then even under hypnosis, in abduction cases and such, we interpret what we seem to perceive. Brightly lit, room grays or no grays, maybe MyLabs, whatever. But it's only the things that our brain understands and then interprets in a way that becomes intelligible to us, right? Is it what we saw? If we're operating in a high dimensional space, absolutely not. 1000% no. That's not what we actually saw. That was not what was there. But our brain thinks that's what was there. So, look, Dave, I don't think your question is silly at all. Are these people's... I think they have poked us for centuries, maybe millennia. Poking, finding out, poking some more, and trying to do this and trying to do that. See how we react. And the thing is this. Don't forget, this is really important. If you talk to anybody in the street, I dare you, anyone in the street, do you want to go to war? Do you feel like you want to go and fight somebody and shoot people and maybe be shot yourself or whatever? I guarantee you, 99% of people say no. I have no interest. And yet we go to war. And people go to war. People are killed in war. Right? So maybe somebody's prodding us and poking us and just pushing all the right buttons at the right time. You can never, of course, entirely dismiss the psychopath argument.
Yep.
Because the
When do
people
we
in
get the
charge
guns?
certainly are
Not until you tell me your first name.
that. Oh, you gotta love
That's
it.
so
Tackleberry.
gold. Yeah.
Oh, dude. There's another funny one. It's called Armed and Dangerous with John Candy and what's his name? Oh, he's really funny. He played the dad in American Pie. You know who I mean? They're both training to be security guards. So they finish Friday class of 2:30. You are now armed and dangerous. God help us all. Meg Ryan is in it. It's actually a really funny movie here.
Oh, Meg's in it.
Armed,
for sure.
Yeah, it's gold. Levy. Is it Pete Levy? I think it's Levy. What's his name? I don't know. But
He was
John
also
Candy.
in a Mighty Wind. That fellow, not John, the other guy.
Oh, there's John Candy is there, but American Pie, the father is in fact not mentioned here. That's funny. Okay, I'll
Come on, IMDb.
Eugene Levy. Eugene Levy. He's brilliant in it. So do yourself a favor, you haven't seen it. Armed and Dangerous.
He was in. He's been in so much that I like.
Oh yeah.
Eugene's awesome.
Yeah.
I think he was even in. Wasn't he one of the car salesman from Vacation? The movie.
Oh, he may have been. Yeah, he may have been. Yes, I think you're right. He's got a career that goes way back.
And he was the lead actor in A Mighty Wind, which is very funny. Yeah. That you have to see that. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it.
I have not, and I will. I'll put it on the list. It's listed. It's listed.
If you've seen any episodes of Glee,
yes.
The female coach that hates on the Glee.
Oh yeah, I know her. She's brilliant.
She's in this as well. She's in A Mighty Wind.
Okay.
There's so many really good people that are in it, but it's a mockumentary. It's very funny. Even the guy that does the voices in The Simpsons is in it.
Nice.
Anyway, I was going to say, how would you answer this? Okay, would you join the military to fight in a war? That was your question. I would say it's a follow-up question, not a question that goes in front of it, but follow-up. What if it came to our soil? So if the war came to Australia.
Yeah. Oh, it's really simple. I mean, I live here. My family lives here. My friends live here. My life is here. If somebody is attacking me, I will do whatever I can to defend.
Me too.
But we have, absolutely. It's not even a doubt in my mind.
Right. I don't mind if I'm in Dad's army. Yeah. Or I'm in military intelligence or, anything to help. Anything at all. Don't care. I don't have to have a gun. Just don't. But maybe there's something I can do somewhere else. And that's the way I look at it. I'm not sure. There's so many people that play Rust. If you haven't seen what Rust is, it's basically a post-apocalyptic scavenger hunt game for Top of the Hill or King of the Hill.
Right.
Whereas, people will spawn in and just kill you just for the stuff you've got. They won't even enter into a conversation with you. Yeah. And it's a multiplayer game. And if you can coerce enough people in, or take a lot of people into the game that will play as a team, then you'll be more successful. But it kind of breeds, it just breeds that marauder style of play. It's not it isn't really a team playing thing. Very few people will. Everyone's like a solo, like a lone wolf trying to survive. And I wonder, with all the other games, all the first-person shooter games, how many of those people would be inclined to say that they would also join? Because I remember that there was a game called SWAT that was a first-person shooter, and I liked Kingpin. I used to do video game reviews on Triple M, but there was a game called Kingpin which I loved, and my friend and I would partner up and we'd watch each other's backs as snipers. It was great, fantastic game. But the American, I think FBI or CIA or someone, had enlisted the help of gamers to try and write a game that had actual game gun sounds, and the recoil was believable, through experience, like a military sim rather, but they made it a kids game. And they got into so much trouble because everyone goes, "How dare you train our children to use weapons?" Right? And they went, "Oh, okay, fair cop. You caught us red-handed." They didn't have to say that. They could have said, "Well, you know what? That's a coincidence. We just wanted to, to be able to train people. It was really made for us, but then it went wild and everyone started using it." And they could have said that, but then FOIA would have revealed all the emails between everybody, and okay, you really did get us there. Thought we had you going for a while, but no. So I wonder how many games now are truly realistic, because given that we're so close to a conflict, you'd really want people to be as good as they can be, so trainable as they can be, with an experience and expectation that what they're going to sign up for is what it is. Do you know what I mean? And where's this level of patriotism that we're all supposed to earn really quickly before there's a conflict? Because if you don't get the buy-in, you're not going to get the people. Good luck with that. We can't be all Russia and just enlist them out of the prison system. But I was in white collar crime. Well, we'll let you off if you do some service, and then when you come back, you'll be free. You'll be a free person. And that's what's been going on, but they don't tend to come back so much. Right. These meat waves that Russia have is just
it's look, I'm actually astounded, like I said before, that
the lack of their military might, Mickey.
Well, that yes, but not the willingness of people still to be part of the meat wave, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, this is the First World War in the trenches in France? What?
Well, pretty much. How much did we win today? Oh, a meter.
How many men have we lost? 200,000. Doesn't matter. Keep going. We made that meter. Sure.
It's our meter now. it's actually... No, look, it is terrifying.
Can't we flank them or something? Do we have to go head on?
Look, the only place it can't really happen is in Australia, because we have got enough people for meat waves. We just don't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I guess
we've got some native creatures that'll happily take on some of the task. A lot of things that'll kill you here.
That's true enough.
Yeah.
That is true
I reckon what we do, we breed up millions upon millions of, I don't know, Eastern Browns, Sydney Funnelwebs, all the good ones, right? The Taipan. Just breed up millions of them, right? And we can just do little flybys and flyovers and drop them all on the enemies.
Good luck with that. They won't be happy when they hit the ground. They'll be looking for vengeance. That's what they'll do. Because they're not going to train up a kangaroo, right? That's ridiculous. Russia's currently using dolphins that were military-trained dolphins to identify underwater targets. That's what they're using at the moment.
Well, not to upset our viewers, but listeners, I should say. Or viewers and listeners, I guess, on YouTube. But quite a few of the larger naval powers in the world have trained dolphins not just to look at stuff, but deliver ordnance. So,
I know, suicide missions, yeah.
It's not so good.
No.
Anyway.
We can't ignore that they're there. So I'm thinking, why don't we, switch it up a little? Just we've got heaps of deadly creatures. Why don't we just do that? No, I'm not saying we buy little uniforms for them or anything. Dave's lost it. That's what's happened. I need to get a job, Mickey. I really do. I'm going to put a call out. I need some work. And just, don't hesitate to email me. So, I wonder how many of the young persons would be willing to join voluntarily, because in England they did like a little piece to camera. They walked around with a camera and a mic and around the audience and said, well, what would you like in the street? Like a vox pop, yeah. And they walked around and asked people, would you join the military? Oh, I get up about 11 o'clock. Or I like my hair. I don't want my hair cut off. Or I just play video games all day, or whatever it was. Their response. Clearly, they chose from all the interviews they'd had the ones that suited that evening's broadcast, which was, have you seen what the kids are like today? At no point did they put anyone to air that said, absolutely, show me the guns.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a lot of guns.
All the guns.
All the guns.
All of them.
As long as I can call air support, right? Should be good. Rods from God, Mickey. That's my favourite. That and carpet bombing.
Well, the truth is, the God rods, the kinetic missiles, are a very low cost way to emulate the power of nuclear explosion without any of the nasty radioactivity. Really good. If I had a choice, if it came down to it, and someone asked me, well, what would you do? Lots of God every time. Every time. Why? Because there is no nuclear fallout. And most of them are tungsten. It's a tungsten rods.
Yeah.
For the most part. And they're released from satellites. And it's essentially gravity that's giving it.
Steerable kinetic weapons. Just fantastic.
Yeah. They accumulate so much energy in their fall, because it's a fall. They're falling. Okay, they're not launched. They're not moving under their own power per se. They are just falling to the earth, and they're gathering so much kinetic energy that is then released upon impact that the destructive potential is phenomenal. Right? I mean, if you had to do something at scale, that's what you would do. That's, in my opinion, anyway. Right? It's almost like Homer Simpson's arch enemy at work. Employee of the month, inanimate carbon rod. What? Not
the first time. Yeah.
Quite amusing. But yeah, look, that's what it is. That's where we are. And like I said, it's not getting any better. I think things are going to get a lot worse. Just be prepared. This is another thing I said to my family after the Bondi incident. Because I keep saying, well, I'm trying to scare them, but I say, look, if something goes bad, it goes bad very, very, very quickly. You saw some people that went to shop, on the weekend to their local shopping center to do whatever, maybe just spend some time with the family, get a coffee, do some clothes shopping, grocery shopping, I don't know, whatever. No one was thinking about dying that day. Certainly not
None.
in an attack by a knife-wielding
Person.
well, we know this person had mental issues, right? But
Mm-hmm.
no one thought that. No one. I guarantee you, no one. In the morning they got up, there was not a single thought wasted on that. And then things went in minutes, seconds even. Things go from I'm shopping to I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
Just look, situational awareness. Having, I know it's asking for a lot, but having eyes in the back of your head, just listening to your gut. It's funny. When we go out to eat, I try to avoid sitting exposed. What does that mean? I try to sit with my back to a wall.
Mm.
I can't always do it, obviously, but it's now so ingrained in me, I can't help it. And I also look for exits. I walk into a place, I look for an exit.
Oh, I do that too.
And I sit with my back covered. Okay, ideally not visible from any window or doors. Anyway, you don't have to go to those extremes, but it's like it just happens. It just happens because we're living in a world that has done everything wrong. Let's just spend a couple of moments on this thought. And what I mean by that is this, Dave. We don't really give people with mental illness the proper care they need. That's number one. Number two, we keep cutting other social services. Right? We keep cutting help for veterans. And not just in Australia and America, across the board in many countries. Not all countries, but in many countries. We invest in the wrong things. We create situations like this. It's our fault. It's our fault. Apparently, the person on the weekend had just gotten off his meds. That happened. He had been medicated, but then he got off it. Should he have been under supervision, forcibly taking his meds? Well, in hindsight, yeah, should have. But we just don't have that infrastructure anymore. We don't have that care for people anymore. Our society has become completely profit-driven. That's it. There's nothing that matters anymore at all. And America is leading the way in this space. In America, if you don't have medical insurance, it's a very stark example.
Mm-hmm.
If you present to a hospital that, I don't know, privately owned or whatever it might be, but if you don't have a medical insurance number or something or money to pay for your procedure, whatever is required, unless it's like a dire emergency, like they will probably patch you up so you don't die immediately, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there won't be any further treatment. And you know what? Maybe they won't even patch you up. Maybe they'll send you to another hospital.
Because what's the first question? Do you have medical insurance?
Yeah, do you have insurance?
Yeah.
Do you have it? And the things that people pay in America for procedures as well as medication is just shocking. But that's just leading the way. Everything has become about money. Universities, centers of learning, no? You need to make money. And you know how they make money? Well, they used to make money by having research. In fact, they didn't really have to make money per se, right?
That's right.
There were fees and there were donations and such, and of course there were things they could patent, there were some inventions and all that, sure. All of that, but now they're making money. And they make money by having foreign students. If you can get overseas students into a university, they pay a lot of money to be there, right? So there's a preference in some universities to have overseas students because it's just worth more money. It's not a center of learning anymore, it's a center for making money. Everything is about making money, everything. There's nothing left in Western society that is not about making money. Think about that for a second. Think about your life, think about your job, think about how you interact with people, think how people interact with you. Every single thing is about money. Oh, what about religion? Even there, America is leading the way. Send more money. Jesus loves you. Send more money. Jesus loves you. Send more money. Tell me that's not the case. Tell me I'm lying.
It's in the car.
Tell me that's right. Okay? We have done this. It's our fault. We have become so obsessed with profit and consumption. It's completely insane. Our ancestors, our grandparents weren't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Their grandparents weren't like that. It was never about that. My grandfather went to grammar school. There was a lot of money in the family to put him through school, so they could afford it. And they wanted him to become a doctor. Not because it paid well, but because it was prestigious, and being a doctor is a good thing for society as well. He said, no, I don't want to do that. I want to be a forester. So he became a forester. A very good forester, one of the best foresters, in fact, that were around at the time. And the exam that he had to sit was I think, 7 days in the forest, pretty much. He had to do a whole bunch of stuff. It was pretty tough. He could speak fluent ancient Greek and Latin. He also spoke French. I mean, education back then was a whole different ballgame. My point is, he wasn't driven by money. I mean, foresters make good money, don't get me wrong, right? But he lived with his family in a house in the woods. A nice house in the woods, but it was a house in the woods. And if you wanted anything, there was no shop you could go to. You had to have it in the garden, had your own chickens, he would go and shoot some game as well, whenever. Had his dogs, and he was happy. That job made him happy. He didn't get rich. I'll tell you that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He had job satisfaction. He loved being in the forest. He loved being a forester. He loved that. He loved it. What? What kind of crazy choice? What kind of crazy life choice is that? No wonder Mackie is all screwed up. No, but do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that everybody could make the choice that my grandfather made, but nobody makes those choices anymore, really, right? Unless you come from money. If you've got money already, you can make all the choices you want. But if you haven't got money, right? But even if you have money, you want to make more money. And if you don't have any money, you want to make more money than the person that had more money before you. Money is become the driving force. It's not money per se, but it's the greed and consumption. So these two in unison, both greed and consumption. Why do we buy all the things we buy, Dave? What's the point? It's just clutter. But I'm as bad as the next person. I accumulate so much clutter, it's not even funny, right? but I do. But there it is. And you go, what? And now there's this order, the hoarders. We go around trying to keep, clean people's houses out. Now that's the extreme version of that. But we all are the same. I mean, some of us might clean out our wardrobe, but then we get buy more stuff. Fashion. Well, what is fashion? What does that even mean? My mother used to say, and she was always very well dressed, you find what looks good on you, and that's what you should wear. Right? If a purple shiny hat and an allofoil dress is in fashion, maybe you shouldn't wear it. Maybe spandex is not for you. Okay? Oh, so true. But maybe you should just find what suits you. I mean, fashion is insane, Dave. This year we're going to wear purple.
This season.
Yeah. Fashion only exists so they can sell more stuff to you.
That's right.
There's no reason. I mean, if you've seen some of these fashion shows and what they wear, it's insane. But again, fashion, there it is, fashion. Shoes. Oh, how much are these shoes? $5,000. How much is this handbag? $50,000. I went shopping on. I go to Singapore a lot, so I go onto Orchard Road, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I've been there.
Yeah, and there's shopping. I mean, they're all Ion. There's a whole bunch of places, but there's one called Paragon. One of the older ones, but very expensive. So I walk in there, have a coffee with my friend and my family, and at the bottom, on the ground floor, and then we walk up and just do some window shopping. And there's a lot of kids stores on the next level up. A lot of kids stores. I mean, these are beautiful shopping centers, right? Singapore is what they're doing. And I walk in there, and they're leather jackets for 3-year-olds. Right?
Cool.
And jeans, but they're not just they cost $2,000-$3,000 to
But they're not even going to wear
for a week,
them at all.
2 weeks.
No, that's
3
right.
weeks.
Kids grow so quickly.
But you go, okay, how many of these shops could there possibly be? There were scores of these shops for kids. There's a lot of disposable income in Singapore, but you have to ask yourself, why? Why? Okay, look, I like to pay for quality. That's okay. I can, that's good. But just pay because you pay. How much was this? How much were your kids' diapers? Oh, yeah, the new Fabrizi line of diapers. They poop into them once. They clean themselves and throw themselves into the bin. They cost $10,000 each. Some crazy stuff like that. Because that's where we are. We are in a hyper-consumption society. We're consuming so much. We're filling up the oceans with our garbage. Now, okay,
Plenty of room
it's
there.
a matter. Yeah, I know this is where flat earthers come in. So people have a real problem with scale. Real problem with scale. And I know I said this before, but if the Earth, our planet, was a billiard ball, it would be smoother than the billiard balls you play pool with.
That's correct.
Okay, just to make you understand the scale of things. And the ocean, especially the Pacific Ocean, is half the planet. Okay, and we've managed to clog up a pretty sizable chunk of it with our plastic garbage. This garbage island, which I think one day might be a garbage continent, but we are consuming like there's no tomorrow. My grandparents wouldn't throw things away. They fix things.
Well, they were serviceable back then. That's right.
But, my radio's broke. No, don't worry, we'll get a couple of vacuum tubes there and, a couple of copper wires and you're good to go. And back then you could fix many things yourself because they were simple. You could fix your car yourself, your bicycle, your radio, even, your TV I probably wouldn't because there's the residual voltage will kill you. But certainly a lot of things you could do yourself. Very hard today. Very difficult with the things that we buy.
Well, remember there's fast fashion and fast food and fast appliances. You buy a broom these days and there's not anything about the broom that'll be there in 10 years. The handle's made with the thinnest material and the head of the broom will have some kind of plastic, and then when the bristles themselves will outlast the rest of the broom.
Yeah.
They just don't last. They either rust or you bend it. How can you bend the handle of a broom? Oh, you exceeded the load. Yeah, but have you used a broom?
You've exceeded the maximum number of swishes. I bought a Dyson vacuum cleaner 14 years ago. 14 years. That cost me a pretty penny. And it broke 2 years ago, so it lasted a good 12 years. And I think that's pretty good. That's actually not bad, but I wanted to get it fixed. I can't get it fixed.
You can't
get it fixed. The spare parts for it doesn't look really much different to the ones they sell today. It really doesn't.
Oh, but they're different.
Sorry?
The parts are just slightly different.
Yeah, it just doesn't quite fit. So I went to the Dyson store in Sydney, and I also wrote to Dyson and a whole bunch of stuff. I said, no, we can't help you. And I said, okay, right. So I sent the job out with some people online, like crowdsourcing, and a couple of people came back and said, yeah, sure. And then they quoted me, it's cheaper to buy a new vacuum cleaner, even if it is a Dyson. And because there was a guy that used to repair lawnmowers. I took my lawnmower to him. It was in Seven Hills on Station Road. That shop is gone, right? But he fixed my lawnmower. And he said, "Oh, what kind of lawnmower do you have?" I said, "I got a Victor." He goes, "Oh, excellent. Those foreign lawnmowers are harder to fix, harder to get spare parts to Victor. Not a problem." So he fixed my Victor, and it was good for another 4 or 5 years. But I can't go back to him because he's gone. He's out of business. And he was like a mechanic kind of person. Like his hands were black. He was living his job 100%. He was great at his job. And he said, "Oh, look, why don't you get this stuff here as well? This will make your fuel last longer. So give me an additive for fuel that will make it last a lot longer, etc., etc." So he looked after me, right? customer service. But again, when I drive around now on I guess large trash days when you can throw big things away, there's so much stuff that you could easily fix. But no, you chuck it. Sorry, geez, that was quick. Okay. The music is here. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your hour with us. This has been Plato's Cave. Don't go anywhere. I'm sure something is going to come up that's going to be awesome. But most of all,